Well, obviously, KU was a 1 seed. They're supposed to be in the Sweet 16 at least, if not the Elite Eight, Final Four, national championship, going to try to go back-to-back. But obviously, losing to a quick Arkansas team. What really went wrong is kind of a circle of things, I believe. Them not having Norm Roberts is definitely one thing that, or having not having Bill Self, having Norm Roberts as the head coach. I think that's one thing that factored into it. But honestly, I think it's just like the inconsistency of like some playing. Grady Dick is one player that I've said has been inconsistent the entire year, especially with his shooting. His hustle plays, his offensive rebounding abilities have been good, but just him shooting the ball just hasn't been good enough. And I think that was kind of a big factor in how we lost this game.
I agree. And the effort that we had towards the end, sometimes we get lazy, we don't get those rebounds. Jalen Wilson definitely gets down on there, gets into the paint and can get those rebounds, but you can't just have one person going against all 5 Arkansas people. So they definitely needed more effort in that area for that game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and also a couple of foul troubles like early on in the game as well. KJ Adams and Uday both got into foul trouble early. Both had 4 fouls with about 6 minutes left to go in that game. So that was also really big reason why late in the game we couldn't get anything going. But I mean, the ability with 4 fouls to 3 fouls and the ability to play defense with 3 fouls and being a little bit more physical with it is a big difference, especially in this game, which the way they were calling fouls, he had to very much stay off the ball. And between KJ Adams and Uday, like they just had to stay off the ball and like just play soft defense, which also ended up hurting him later in the game.
Mm-hmm. But I do think on the upside, what did help them was their free throws, especially towards the end. Jalen Wilson knocking down those 2 free throws at the end. Fortunately, it wasn't enough to get them that lead, but those are key free throws that you need to knock down, and it's going to be unfortunate that we won't have a player like that next year. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they were 18 for 26 from the from the free throw line. Still missing 8 free throws. I mean, those are give-me points, and if you're missing 8 of those, then you win by 7 if you make all of those. So, I mean, just seeing them do that, and that's been a consistent problem. It's cost us games in the past. It cost us one versus Dayton a couple years ago that I still remember to this day that they missed like 13 or 14 free throws in that game or something like that. So, I mean, just kind of a big problem overall. But other than that, going into something that's a little bit more KU, what was good this season, and one of the big things I want to talk about is Jalen Wilson, because Jalen Wilson stepped into Ocha Abaji's shoes this season and just absolutely lit it up. All-American. He'll be hanging from the rafters at Allen Fieldhouse for the next 100 years, for however long we're going to have Allen Fieldhouse, which is forever in my opinion. I don't think they'll ever get rid of it. But I mean, him stepping up and having 20 points a game, being the new captain of this Jayhawks team that really needed it after winning a national championship, you couldn't have asked for anything better of Wilson. And I hope that he gets the chance to get drafted here in April.
I agree. It shows with his stats. He was the leading scorer with 20.1 points per game and averaging 8.2 rebounds per game. So, with an effort like that and really like going out and dominating on the court, that was definitely key for Kansas's success this season. I mean, and Kevin McCullough coming in, we didn't have him last year, but him stepping into the role and stepping up into that starting 5. He had a bit of a slow start this season, but I think towards the middle and end, he really lit it up and really, really got that connection and flow with the rest of the team, and that really skyrocketed them up.
Yeah, obviously we had a guy named Remy Martin who came here and had a slow start with KU last season. Obviously worked out in the tournament at the end. Sadly, it didn't with Kevin McCullough. Also, Kevin McCullough, the last thing he'll remember at KU was missing that defensive rebound that led to an offensive rebound with about a minute left to go in the game. And that's going to be the last thing that Kevin McCullough really remembers from his KU seasons. But, I mean, honestly, other than that, I can't really have anything to say about this Kansas team. But looking forward to next season, I mean, you lose Kevin McCullough, more than likely. He's a senior this season. You lose Jalen Wilson, obviously, to the draft. Grady Dick still has not made his decision whether he's going to go to the draft or not. I think you should stay another year. Might be a biased opinion, but whatever. And then, obviously, but you got guys on the bench. MJ Rice is coming up. I believe he'll take Jalen Wilson's spot next year. And Uday, obviously, going to be playing a bigger role with KJ Adams, maybe in the 4 with Uday in the 5 as well. Mixing it with MJ Rice, too.
Definitely Pettiford and Yesufu, too. I think they've been phenomenal players coming off the bench, doing what they need to do, doing what Self tells them to do. So I think having those people step up into those roles, I think will definitely help them be successful again next season.
So we have a 5-star guard coming in, too, as well. So, I mean, with him and DeJuan Harris mixing it up, it's going to be a little bit harder to mix in. I think Yesterfield and Bobby Pettiford, you'll see them in action when you need to. Obviously, Bobby Pettiford's come on in big moments. Wisconsin very much earlier in the season. Yesterfield's had some big shots in past games. But especially if Grady Dick stays, we're going to have a packed guardhouse there. And just the ability to be able to have that many guys. You never really see Kansas have more than 7 or 8 guys really off the floor. And I think we have the ability next year to get 9 or 10 guys. But we're going to really have to see. That's all the time we're going to have to do. Or all the time we're going to have for you today, but we're going to go ahead and send it back to Max after this break.